This is Henderson Field, an unfinished dirt airstrip carved out of the jungle on a tropical island called Guadalcanal. In November 1942, the entire Pacific War hinges on whoever controls this specific patch of dirt. By day, American aircraft taking off from this strip rule the skies. They easily cut off Japanese supply lines and keep the island secure. But the moment the sun sets, that dynamic flips. Look at the size of this weapon resting on the beach. This is the Type 93, or the Long Lance torpedo. Combined with the world's best optical lookouts, trained for years to spot silhouettes, the Japanese Navy used these to dominate night combat. This glowing screen represents the American solution to the dark, fire control radar. It was a technology capable of tracking an enemy fleet 15 miles away in pitch blackness, providing targeting data without a human eye ever seeing the threat. But a technological edge is only a theory until it's tested in combat. To win, the Navy's commanders would have to develop a doctrine that actually matched their new hardware. The U.S. Navy had built their confidence around this new machine, without accounting for their own inexperience. That technological blind spot was about to drag thousands of sailors into a catastrophic test of survival in the waters of Iron Bottom Sound. On Friday the 13th, a massive Japanese strike force, anchored by 2 battleships like the one seen here, steamed straight toward Guadalcanal. Their objective was to shell Henderson Field into rubble overnight. You can see the number 38 on the bow of this cruiser. This is the USS San Francisco, the flagship of Admiral Daniel Callahan. In a critical error, Callahan placed the ships with the most advanced radar at the front of his column, but failed to use their data, choosing instead to fight blindly from his own older flagship. Without a cohesive plan, the American column sailed directly into the center of the Japanese formation. The battle instantly dissolved into a point-blank brawl. Ships were so close that sailors could see enemy faces on the decks, and in the confusion, American ships even fired on each other. But the sheer chaos of the American blunder confused the Japanese commander. Despite holding overwhelming firepower and a clear path to the airfield, Vice Admiral Abe inexplicably withdrew his force. The U.S. Navy survived the first night through accidental chaos and enemy hesitation, not tactical skill. Henderson Field remained vulnerable to a second inevitable attack. The next night, the Japanese returned to finish the job with the battleship Kirishima. But waiting for them was this ship, the USS Washington, and a commander who understood the technology, Admiral Willis Lee. The engagement began with a disaster. Lee's screening destroyers were wiped out in minutes, and his second battleship, South Dakota, suffered total electrical failure, going completely blind in the dark. In the chaos, Japanese ships concentrate fire on South Dakota, illuminating themselves. They lose track of Washington, allowing Lee to flank undetected. This radar display shows Washington's computers tracking the enemy. It calculated range, bearing, and speed, generating firing solutions directly to the guns. Washington opened fire. Over the next 7 minutes, she unleashed radar-guided 16-inch shells that systematically tore the Kirishima apart. Those 7 minutes changed the balance of power in the Pacific. Admiral Lee had proven that radar-directed fire could strip away the Japanese advantage in the dark. With their battleship escort destroyed, the Japanese troop convoy was left exposed. The next morning, American aircraft from Henderson Field decimated the incoming transports, saving the island from a massive reinforcement. The failure to retake Henderson Field forced the Japanese Empire into an agonizing evacuation, their first major strategic retreat of the war. The chaotic brawling of the past was over. The Navy began integrating radar fire control into every level of the fleet, eroding the Japanese night advantage forever. The physical toll of these 2 nights remains. The waters between these islands are now a mass grave holding dozens of sunken warships from both sides, a place known forever as Iron Bottom Sound. The victory at Guadalcanal showed that radar was only as effective as the men interpreting it. It required commanders like Willis Lee, who looked past the darkness and trusted the numbers on the screen.